Well, hello, folks. This is Joe Wesley of the team of Joe Wesley and Lizzy Gabor. For those, she's not yet on. But for those of us who visit us early, we start a little bit to give you some background work and to give you a sense of an insider's perspective. So, first off, commercial break. Thanks for joining us. For those who are brand new, we really, really appreciate you seeing us. And for those who are coming back to us a second or third or eighth or 30th time, we appreciate that also. And I'd like to remind you, you can look at us live, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight or Standard Time, every, what is this, Thursday morning at 8 o'clock, barring things like Thanksgiving, stuff like that, maybe a vacation every now and then. And my purpose here is to figure out this right brain phenomena of mindfulness and wellness and being more healthy and satisfied and successful, being the left brain guy that I am. And to say it differently, I'm trying to figure this out working with Lizzy Gabor, who's really much into that program. Now, people say she's good at what she does. What I know of her, she's very competent, very concerned, very dedicated. I don't get it. However, that being said, part of our joy is having your input. So you can see us either live now or you can see us later. Maybe you start off with 8 o'clock with us. You can't keep the whole 15 minutes. Look at us through LinkedIn. Look at us through YouTube. Look at us through Facebook. We would ask when you look at us through YouTube, that you sign in either to your Google account or your YouTube account so you can leave comment, because that's really the fun of this. That share your questions, share your comments, share your concerns. And as a result, we can learn more about each other and become hopefully more meaningful for what you're trying to accomplish. Today's topic, and what we do here, we don't rehearse. I will share the topic out with Lizzy, in all fairness. So she has some time to know where my focus might be. And that's pretty much it, because I want it to be spontaneous. I want it to be real. So what I do is share a topic with her, and she'll say, yes, let's talk about this. Actually, she's very good. She never says, no, I don't want to talk about that. Lizzy's even more accommodating than my wife sometimes. I got to say that in terms of not negating anything I've done. Well, how are you doing, Lizzy? How are you?
I am well. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody.
So I was just talking about our flow here, about my confusion and how you're going to suck me into your program. And I shouldn't say it like that because what she does is very meaningful. Just, again, I'm a left brain kind of guy. So every now and then she shares a topic with me that I really love to pounce on because she is skilled and artful about zigging back on me with her perspectives. And there's a phrase that, oh, where do I have it here? That the issue is, the question is, act your age, what's that all about? And basically, Lizzy says that your age is really more mental than it is physical. Minimally will affect your physical age. But I can think of times when people would say to me, Joe, why don't you act your age? Or better yet, a woman at a social setting, perhaps, a lady who's in her whatever age she's in chronologically. And I hear women say, she's too old to be wearing a dress that short or wearing a dress like that. So there's certainly a lot of pressure of acting your age. So I'd love to hear Lizzy's perspective on how one deals with this.
I say that's all nonsense.
Well, I guess we just did the whole 15-minute program, folks.
Especially what you should wear at any age. You should wear what you feel good in. And acting your age, I think we need to act as though we are in our prime at all times. Because again, like you just said, our thoughts affect our biology, our physiology. So, if we're thinking about all the decline and all the things that are going to happen as we grow older, guess what? You're just pulling all that stuff in, and you're going to attract that, and that's going to be your life. But if you instead, play often, you're going to grow younger. Rather than, I think we grow older because we stop playing, we act our age, as like you said. That's the problem. That's the problem in our culture. And I think it's culturally, it's like everything is based on a certain age. When you're 30, you better have kids by now, or or you're not going to have kids by four. If you're not married, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
At 40, at 50, you're like way washed up, and I just think that is completely nonsense. I think that you start to care less about what people think as you grow older. I would not want to be back in my 20s, for
Mm.
sure.
I hear that now, but so say, but you're still asking people or indicating to people they have to kind of go against public opinion. So how does one deal with that headwind? I'm not a salesman that's called tacking the headwind. You zig this way, you zig that way to still go against the wind. Are there tacking efforts that a human being can do to fight that headwind to get to where they want to be?
Yeah, just you be the person that laughs more and plays more and doesn't act their age, and I want to be the one at the party that my kids are embarrassed by the way I'm dancing,
Okay.
because they're going to thank me later. They might be embarrassed in the moment, but later they're going to thank me. And I heard this you'll like, Joe. I hope everybody likes. I heard there was a woman who was there were two women who were asked, what they wanted their obituary to say, and the one woman said, well, I aged with dignity and grace and lived until 104. And then the other lady said, I think her name was Rose, uh, I was in my platform shoes, dancing on the pole at the senior center, and I fell and I fell and I hit my head and I died instantly
That's funny.
at 104.
Mm.
So I'd rather be Rose than the other one. And I think that we all need to think about, a little bit more about how we, what we think our limitations are as we grow older. Because I think that if we shift that and to really, we take the wisdom and the lessons and all the resiliency, and then we have a sense of humor about it, life gets a lot easier. We're all going to go through things. We're all going to have hard things.
I hear that, but to get to the easier part of life, as you suggest or indicate, it seems, again, folks, here's my difficulty. My left brain functioning, that when I listen to Lizzy, it's something like, well, just turn a light switch on in a dark room and it lights up and it happens. And my head doesn't work that way. So you mentioned the word embarrassment, that I would think that's a challenge people have if they want to act something other than their age. When you mentioned the lady in the high heels as an example, that it's easier, safer for the one to talk in a sedate manner. Well, I withered away in a rocking chair watching the traffic go by me. That's an easy statement. But for say, well, I was in my high heels, so I want my kids to be embarrassed, because not that you want them, but I don't mind it, or it's part of the fun of it. So how does one deal with that embarrassment factor to have enough courage, nerve to buck the headwind of act your age? How does one? Are there little baby steps one can take to deal with that?
Yeah, just to really think about, what did you do when you were 11 that you loved to do? What were those things? Maybe it was, skipping down the street, or, and just go do a couple of those things. Go do the things that, that you can remember that you liked to do as a child. Just do one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just try one. Get on your bike, go for a bike ride like I just did the other day,
Mm-hmm.
or just do something that makes you feel like you did with the wonder and freedom that you had as a child, and choose that over worrying about what people think.
I hear that. It comes to mind a commercial, and it was a series of commercials very similar. And I forgot the purpose of it, but it began with this one guy who is a beefy football kind of guy thing, but he's got some lipstick on, and I don't know the wording, he's wearing some little girly little top thing and some lace stuff around his shorts, and he's doing this kind of weird kind of dance. My God, what is this guy doing? And at first how did that make it even on TV? But then the camera panned back, and it showed that he was actually practicing a dance with his 7-year-old daughter, who was dressed in the same manner, and giving her support in her routine. So, now that makes sense. Well, that's an example where somebody has a crutch, but surely if that guy were going around by himself, dancing like that by himself, he probably would get some phone calls from neighbors on him. So is that something we're talking about here when you say act your youth and not your age?
I say go for it anyway. What the heck? Go for it anyway. And I think about when people play with their grandchildren and they relive that feeling, and it's don't wait for that. You can do that, dance in your apartment. If you don't want to dance like a crazy person in the street, do it in the
Yeah.
privacy of your own home.
Yeah. In fact, a thought just occurred to me. Certainly, you mentioned having children. In part, it gives you an opportunity, or even rephrase it, even a dog. Let's say it this way:
Yes.
we had a dog when I was a kid, and had to walk the dog at night, and so we go, I don't know, 8 block radius or something like that. And at some point, the dog stops to do what he had to do, and I'm holding the chain, and I stop with him. And sometimes it's interesting how your environment can work for you. And I guess there's a police car cruising back and forth, and they saw this one guy standing in the middle of the dark in the middle of the sidewalk, like, what's that all about? And they shine the light on me, but then there was a 2-car patrol. But then one guy saw the fact that I was holding something, saw the chain, saw the dog, and he turned to his partner and said, oh, he's walking his dog. And so that's an example because of, or another example, better yet, I like to take a camera with me. Now, I don't mean the little smartphone thing like this. I mean a real camera, 35 millimeter, weighs 10 tons. I do that because it forces me to take pictures. It forces me to look at something I hadn't seen before because I'm trying to find a good shot now. And I went to the Brooklyn or the Bronx Zoo, I think the Bronx Zoo, and I saw a squirrel that had different color in New York than they do in New Jersey. I forgot the coloring, but I wanted a squirrel's eye view. So I spread flat on the ground to take a shot at ground level. Now, normally, if you see somebody spreading themselves out on the ground, they probably call security. But because I had a camera, people were saying they became my agents. Say, oh, photographer. They made sure nobody walked between me and the squirrels. So that camera gave me a license of acting what I wanted to be, as opposed to what people expected of me. So could one use little props like that? Or
I love it. I mean, really, I think I've told you about that study, that Langer study from years ago, but it's been repeated many times, about how they had men in their 70s and 80s act as if they were in their prime, and they ended up like literally looking 10 years younger. Their hearing, all of their functioning got better. So act as if, you had a camera. Act as if you were 11, and again, it's going to affect, first of all, how you feel,
right.
and it's going to affect your physiology. It's going to affect, your biology. So we can grow chronologically younger.
I hear the value of it, but it's the nerve of it that I'm still attacking. I had a cat that used to be an outdoor cat and found me, and I brought it indoors and kept it as an indoor cat, because before that my outdoor cats never survived for any length of time. So I wanted this one to mature with me. But I would take the cat walking, and they actually have cat harnesses. It's not like just the collar for a dog, because a cat can get out of that in a minute. So it's a whole harness in front of the forelegs and behind the forelegs, and you clip the chain on the thing behind the front legs. And I would take the cat walking. And as a result, sometimes we'd run, we'd stop, we'd be erratic, we'd go to a tree. Now, if I were by myself mumbling, they'd call security on me because they see the cat. Oh, look, he's got a cat. Isn't that interesting? So maybe people think more about props to use or take advantage of their environment.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, that's hilarious. I love that visual of you walking the cat. But I'm telling you, a pet, my dog, she cracks me up every morning when she comes out. What she does is hilarious. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but pets can do that. Kids, watching kids, and just mimic that, mimic their joy and their wonder and their funniness, right?
In fact, I just thought of something. I mentioned examples where it's actual issues in my life. I can think of now taking a prop, kind of like a camera. So folks, here's a off the cuff blast for you. Take not an easel, but take maybe a big board that had maybe some drawing paper on it, and hold 3 or 4 crayons. And every now and then maybe you draw something, says, I got that. That's fantastic. And nobody will bother you because they think you're an artist. Because every now and then you just scribble something on the paper. I love that one. Oh, he's an artist. She's creative. And yes. So let's say props, something like, if you need a prop, and I certainly do, it can give you a license to behave in a manner otherwise unexpected and get away with it, maybe.
I love it. I love it. Everybody get your box of crayons, get a bottle of bubbles. I have bubbles at home at all times.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I do with my dog. I blow bubbles and she goes crazy.
All right, there you go.
So yeah, absolutely.
And,
Do whatever you need to do to bring more of that youthful, fun energy into your life.
in fact, something just hit me as I'm rambling here, no, as I'm being factual, that the act of being younger or acting your mental age, the fact that you have to think of it in itself exercises not only your body but also your mind. You have to creatively look at something from a fresh perspective. So I think it's a continuum, not just the action, but the journey to get to that action that adds to that youthfulness factor. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lizzy loves that word
mindful
called
of our thoughts.
mindfulness. I can say she loves
Be
that word,
mindful of your
mindfulness.
thoughts. Just be aware of what you're thinking, because our culture is putting us into these portals of everything of each age being on our way towards a wheelchair in decline and withering away, like you said. So we need to put the thoughts in our head that are going to be making us feel energized and alive and with vitality and vibrancy.
I hear that. Yeah, I was trying to help her out. I knew if it said something like mindfulness, oh, she'd pounce on that with an example that can close out our meeting.
Can't help it.
Fair enough. We've got maybe 15 seconds. You want to take us home on this to think?
Just never let your age be a cage, I like to say. Oh. And, that just, again, think about, like, we're all going to go through hard things, up and down in life, but don't take it so seriously. I just don't care about what people think. We start to care less, I think, as we grow older. We just don't care as much. And so just honor that, have more fun, and,
I hear that. I got to give my 3 cents. You got the rest of your life to be old. Don't rush into it.
That's right. That's it. Exactly.
Folks, take care and thank you very much. We'll see you next Thursday.
Take good care, everybody.